Welcome to Voodu Warlock episode 4. I'm going to be doing Elite Storm the Beaches. Now normally this would be one that I would skip in heroic levels because if I'm going all the way to 28, I like to skip anything that can be done epic until epic levels so that I can get first time bonuses there. And if you're doing multiple epic lives before true reincarnating, that's really valuable to save that first time XP for later use. I just finished capping Ginger Spice to 28, and I was able to get all the way to 28 without running any of the quests that are naturally, like level 20 and above, like anything in the web chain flagging or web flagging chains and just everything that has a base level of 20 and up. And so I'm saving all that so after I have Epic Reincarnate to get that as a first time. So, level 9. And I've taken the Enlightened Spirit tree pretty much as far as I want to take it. There's a couple points of Constitution here, but I'm going to hold off on getting that for now. I can't take Tier 5 or the Tier 4 and 8 until level 12. So, but new since last time is this Resilience of Soul. This is just plus 6 MRR, no big deal, added defense, pretty awesome. And then Spiritual Retribution, this adds 3d6 light damage that scales with spell power to my Eldritch Bursts and Blast. And then I've spent my first point in the Tainted Scholar tree. Now I mentioned during the Ginger Lock series that at least this first point is pretty valuable to spend for really any warlock. If you're doing Soul Eater or you're doing Enlightened Spirit, this Tainted Spellcasting acts as a spell power boost. It says for 10 Depravity you get plus 25 universal spell power and plus 2 to the bonus of all spell DCs, and it lasts for 20 seconds and that's on a 60-second cooldown. Now, if you're not familiar with how the Depravity works, it's as you're damaging mobs with your Eldritch Burst and Blast, you build up stacks of Depravity. There's so many counter systems like this in the game now, so you're probably used to those kinds of things. But once it gets up to 10, you can pop that Tainted Spellcasting and get that little boost. So pretty nice. But I mentioned before that my goal here is going to be to spend enough points in Tainted Scholar Tree to work all the way up to Tainted Lore, which puts Death Ward in my spellbook. And there's lots of great stuff that I can get on the way to that, so I'm not just going to be wasting a bunch of points to get there. But what's really tempting is, if I spend 10 more points, I can get Greater Heroism added to my spellbook too. So I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I don't think there's anything that really interests me too much over here in the Harper Agent tree. I would kind of like to spend some points here in my Drow, at least to get my spell resistance all the way up and get a plus 6 to my spell resistance, a couple more points of charisma, and then maybe even these resistance. I can get up to plus 6 to saves versus enchantment, which would be pretty nice. We'll see. I want to mention the feat that I got for level 9. I took Force of Personality. Really, just about any Warlock build, at least if it's Charisma based, can really benefit from this. This says it adds your Charisma modifier to your Will saves instead of your Wisdom modifier. So big Will saves there. Really awesome feat to take. You usually it seems like most Warlocks are going to have some room to fit something like that in. So if you can fit it in, great. If you're doing like an Enlightened Spirit tank where you're putting some levels of Paladin in there, you're obviously not going to need that because Paladins already have an enhancement that makes it so that your Charisma bonus acts as your modifier to saves. So I've worked up to 66 PRR and 65 MRR, not too shabby. My armor class is only 34 though, so not very good. And let's look at the gear. So still got the Goggles of Resistance 5. Now I've got the Swamp Scale armor. This is bound to account even after you equip it, so this is what I was using on Ginger Spice, just moved it over. Got Sapphire Defense 6 in the blue slot and the Master's Gift in the colorless slot. It's a nice set of medium armor that druids can use too, because it is made out of leather. It's one of, I think, only 2 medium sets of armor that are not metal, so that druids can use. So especially good for druid. False life on the bracers. Radiant 60 on the ring. I love these boots. Kundrak Delving Boots gives you permanent freedom of movement. That's going to protect you from getting held, hold monster and hold person, and that's also going to protect you from slipping around in sleet storm, grease, and other slippery surfaces like ice. Strength 6 on the gloves, Impulse 60 on the ring, Heavy Fortification on the belt, added Feather Falling to my Cloak of Good Luck +2. This is the same as last time, the level 7 Blasting Chime. Charisma 6 on the necklace, and Constitution 6 on the helmet slot. For the shield, I've got Invulnerability +3. And then for the weapon, I've just got this up to +4 Acid Flame Touch Iron Rapier of Bleeding. Gives me something to swing around. Now, if you don't care about doing any kind of damage, and I probably shouldn't, but I like to have, a piece of steel to swing around at the mobs. But I'm going to be using a green steel longsword once I get to level 12, just because I had one from doing some other past lives on Voodu. When I was taking through her favorite soul lives, I made her a longsword just to play around with. It's fun to have a lit 2 green steel for epic or for heroic levels. But if you don't care what you have in your hand as an Enlightened Spirit, then you might want to think about getting an item with slots. And an awesome weapon to have at this level range is the Luck Blade. It's not going to do much damage. Well, it could, depending on how you slot it up, but it has 3 slots on it. It is the only heroic weapon, and I believe the only heroic item in the game that has 3 slots. Totally awesome. And that's actually a pretty easy farm out of the Garamel chest in the subterranean. So, it's like orange, red, and purple. You can put like 3 different spell powers in there, for example, or you could put like I was thinking about getting one and adding like Impulse and Radiance, and then slotting the other one up with just some damage. But I just didn't really feel like buying it. I'm not going to be at these levels for very long. If I do decide to do, like a bunch more lives, I might pick up something like that. But I'm just cruising through these heroic lives, or these heroic levels, so I didn't want to waste the shards to purchase that, and I didn't want to take the time to farm it. Something else though, there are lots of weapons with 2 slots, and I had this because this is kind of a neat option. This comes from Delira's End Chain reward, and it has 2 slots. It's a club, so you're going to be proficient with it, and it's got Perform +7, and that's going to help your Sonic spell power, which the Enlightened Spirit does. So I could be using that and then slotting it up with Impulse and Radiance, but I just decided to have something to do a little more damage in my hand. So just a preference. So if you haven't paid much attention to the Sentinels Chain in a while, then you may not have realized that this quest was made epic. Back when this chain first came out, the Sentinels Chain, for whatever reason, they didn't make this quest epic. But when Three Barrel Cove went epic, they went and made this epic, and it is part of the sagas, both the heroic and epic sagas that Three Barrel Cove is a part of. It's Sentinels Chain and Three Barrel Cove Chain. And the epic version of this one I think it's lots of fun. Some people really hate it because the ballistas there hit you for like 1,000 damage. But it really makes it some fun strategy to try to, duck and weave around the ballistas. It's not just go in there and smash everything. You really gotta be careful about not getting hit by ballistas because, unless you have 1,500 hit points, they could one-shot you very easily. So, I always like to take the mage, and you talk to the 3 different guys, they take you to different spots, and the mage actually randomly teleports you to a few different locations. And this is actually exactly where I wanted to go to. Is the underwater entrance. Perfect. I was just going to swim over here if I landed on the ship or something. haven't shrined yet this life. Just got done grouping with some guildies. You know, my guildie Dread and then my guildie Syax are both doing Enlightened Spirits. And it was just ridiculous to have 3 Enlightened Spirits running through quests. You know, all of our auras going, all of our bursts going. It was just really, really sick. Now, one of the abilities I picked up, I can't remember what level I got it, so I might have had it in my last video, but I didn't use it. And I don't use it a lot, but there are some times when it's valuable, and it's the Dark Delirium. I'll show you what that is. Turn off my aura real quick, because I don't want to kill him. So Dark Delirium says, plunge one enemy's mind into an illusory realm. That enemy is dazed and cannot act for 20 seconds. Each time this enemy is damaged, there's a 10% chance that they break free. So no matter how much damage, there's just 10% chance each time to take any damage. It doesn't affect bosses, but there is no saving throw. So if you need to freeze a mob for some reason, this could be really nice. And you can actually use this working as intended. I don't know, but you can actually use this to freeze the rats up, like the Carcass Eaters up in Tomb of the Tormented in the maze. But this is one, so I'll hit him. You can see there was absolutely no animation on my part, no sound effect. So, like when I was on DDO Cast a couple weeks ago, I was saying Warlock needs some polishing, and this is one of the examples. Dark Delirium, there just nothing. You know, obviously I can see he's frozen, but there was no sound effect, no animation. I mean, it's pretty lame. But I do like the ability. Like I said, I don't use it a lot. But there are some situations in which, you know, it can be really handy to freeze a mob. Guess I can turn my aura back on now. Now in the heroic version, the ballistas don't fire at you. They just sit there. But you already knew that. Probably want my blasts on instead of my aura. Shoot some of these from a distance. Guess I could switch that if I need it. Like at this part, when you get those 3 ballistas out there firing at you on Epic, you're like ducking and around this corner. Just trying to hit it once and then pop back. It's crazy. If you're not familiar with this quest, just so that you have your bearings, right down there is where I teleported to, and the underwater entrance is right there. that. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. If you have any questions about the build that I'm doing, you can respond on the DDO forum post. And if you happen to be on Sarlona, you are welcome to send me a tell.